Hello, folks. Hey, Mark Wells here, the commissioner, back for the first time in a long time. In fact, I think it's the first video of the year. So thanks for sticking with me. I had put this task in the hands of Red and Sean a few weeks back, and unfortunately, they did not come through. Red claims they recorded the whole darn thing, only to find out that he never hit the record button. So I asked, did he really record anything at all? I would say no. But here we are, week 11 of 14 in this regular season. The first year of a $200 entry, and people are just loving it, especially Darren Danko, who once again was the league's highest scoring team last week. Darren pretty soon is going to be in the green without ever forking over any dough, so congratulations to him. Darren also happens to be in probably the league's biggest matchup of the week, that of course in the good old boys division, where he takes on the division leading Big Blue. My hat's off to Big Blue, as he was able to pull off a victory against my team last week, giving me my first loss, which was a nail-biter. Ended up losing by about half a point. But again, Mark Wells has a way of lying in the weeds early on in the season and then coming out towards the end to win the whole darn league. So last week was a step in that direction for him. He stands at 9-1. Tied for the best record with my team, Niski Una Nitro. I wanted to clear something up as the commissioner. You know, I feel bad that I've kept a lot of this quiet, but there's been rumors and speculation of the Niski Una Nitro being moved to another city. There has been talks, that is true. In fact, we've been playing some of our home games away from Niski Una in neighboring Saratoga Springs this year to see kind of where this team is going to land. So stay tuned on that, but I didn't want to keep that a secret from the league any longer. Yes, we are considering a move permanently in the future, but for now the team name remains Niski Una Nitro. On to the big game of the week. Again, the Wilton Bluffers against Big Blue. I want to quickly take a look at the standings and the overall points for and against. As I mentioned, Darren has scored close to 300 more points than Big Blue, and has also had, 200 more points than Big Blue, and has had 300 more points scored against him. And that, of course, explains the differential in record. It's 9-1 to 7-3. When we look at their matchup this week, I want to take a look and see if there's any major players that are off. For the Wilton Bluffers, they are actually missing a few key players. Devonta Freeman is out, along with Sanu and Emmanuel Sanders. The only player out for Mark Wells is Matt Forte. Other than that, it looks like he's solid. One big benefit that Big Blue has this week is Martellus Bennett. Should see a lot of touches in that game for the New England Patriots. Gronkowski did not make the trip to San Francisco in that game, and San Francisco has had trouble against the pass, against the run, against everything. So that's a great start for him. Todd Gurley, I would imagine that they'll be relying heavily on him today with Jared Goff getting his first start of the season at quarterback. The rookie is going to be looking for that security blanket and the Gurley man as much as possible in this one, which should be a tight one. I don't see Miami running away with this game. So two great matchups there for Big Blue. Of course, his dynamic receivers of Antonio Brown and Odell Beckham, that's hard to contend with. We already have seen what Cam Newton did for the week. Nothing spectacular, 17 points. You can get that from any quarterback in the league just about any week. When you pay the top dollar that Mark Wells paid for Cam Newton, he's got to be disappointed, especially against a top team like the Wilton Bluffers, who right now, heading into Sunday's action, they have as a 4-point favorite. On the Bluffers side, he's not bluffing anyone. We know he's good. And everyone gets up to play the Big D-man. Big Ben against Cleveland, I mean, what's not to love about that matchup? Big Ben, of course, came back, I believe, last week from injury, and Cleveland, is certainly no match. It's interesting because Big Ben is going to be throwing a lot to Antonio Brown, which will cancel out a lot of the points in the matchup as Mark Flack has Antonio. However, Darren has Le'Veon Bell for Pittsburgh, and he also has Ezekiel Elliott. So obviously the best backfield in the league belongs to the Wilton Bluffers, who also, I may add, I hear maybe moving to the Clifton Park area from the Wilton area. So keep an eye on that. A couple of relocating teams possibly heading into next season. Beyond that, Darren's had one receiver play, Willie Sneed, nothing to sneeze about. 7.3 points. Disappointing, I would say. Let's see what they had for his projected point total for the week, 13.5. So he basically put forth half the effort, half the points that were expected of him. Seattle D is tough. Ryan Matthews coming off a big week last week, if my memory serves correct. Yes, 35 points last week. And David Johnson. I mean, Darren can run all over you all day long. I think I've got to give him the edge in this one, as hard as it is to say. Mark Flack has Antonio Brown, but with Le'Veon and Big Ben, and then the other running backs, Ezekiel and Dave Johnson, I think where we could see a difference is if Odell can come up big against Chicago, if they do heavily rely on Gurley. And where was the other spot? Oh, Bennett. If Martellus Bennett has a huge day, I mean, anything could happen. There again, it's projecting to be a 4-point matchup. Both have 9 players to go. It should be interesting. So keep an eye on that here on Sunday and into Monday. Let's see if there's any Monday games in this matchup. No. So we will have a winner in that today. Quickly looking around the league, if anything else of note, the other big matchup really is the Bucks County Brewmasters and DFWT, Sean O'Neill. These two teams are 5-5, along with Bermuda Street, also 5-5, who plays Big John's Little Pals, who's had a struggle this season, unfortunately. If we look at the playoff bracket right now, just to give you kind of a look inside the playoffs, if they were to begin today, My Nitro would be taking on the Bumblebees, and it would be the Bluffers in Blue playing this week and would be in the playoffs. So right now, the Bucks County Brewmasters and DFWT, you can figure out what that means. They're right on the outside looking in. So an upset by Big John's Little Pals and a win by either one of those two teams this week, which in all likelihood will happen, would shift the fourth team in the playoff push here. Looking at the matchup and how that looks to unfold, right now we've got Lukey Jr. and the boys favored by 16 points. And Sean has had 2 people play already, which generated 20 points from Kelvin Benjamin and Brandon Cooks. On the buy side of things, only Devonta Booker for Sean, whereas Lukey has Matt Ryan, Bilal Powell, and the Broncos D. I imagine only Matt Ryan probably would have started for sure. It's not a huge thing, and he's got Eli against the Bears, which I think is a great matchup. Doug Martin's back. LeGarrette Blount should have a good day against San Francisco. It's a tough one. Let's see. Carlos Hyde, we'll see. He's been up and down. He's been a little banged up. Edelman should be good. I love Terrell Pryor. Every week he seems to be the one shining light on that Browns team. And just what an incredible find. And he's done an awesome job making that transition to wide receiver. Of course, big Rob Gronkowski being out is the huge loss for Sean. So I like Lukey in this one. They actually, as I look at the line here, the projected total is now Lukey by 24, almost 25 points. So good luck to both those teams this week. Wrapping out the matchups for this week, I take on Batteray, who has been just an awesome part of this league for the past few years, dominant. Struggling this year at 2-8. Right now, I'm a favorite by 13. We'll see what happens there. Red is favored by 18, it appears. And the game of almost all relevance, unless Rick can go on a run, Cool Hand versus Team of Relevance. Rick is a 9-point favorite. So there you have it, folks. This week in a small little condensed box, live from Saratoga Springs, where we had some snowfall this morning. Went out, hit mass, hit my knees, and prayed for a big win. And as we sit here now, the snow has melted. So good luck this week. Enjoy the games. Enjoy the Survivor Series if you're watching. And we'll talk to you hopefully next week. We'll hopefully get a guest on to do this. Oh, and happy Thanksgiving. Maybe an early preview. God bless.